Now the pathophysiology. Actually, we don't know what is the exact cause behind it, but I will introduce you to a strongly agreed hypothesis. In our brain, within hypothalamus, there is an area which is responsible for circadian rhythm of our body. This area is called biological clock. It is suggested that this area could be involved in causing this illness. There are two factors that support this hypothesis. One is periodicity, and second is that usually the attacks start at night almost at the same time during rapid eye movement sleep and awaken the patient from sleep. Along with this, central disinhibition of trigeminal autonomic pathways, mainly the overactivation of parasympathetic system, have been found, and that is why it is accompanied by autonomic symptoms, which we are going to discuss in a while. The cluster headache is predominantly found in males. Ratio between males and females is 3:1. Usually, the patients which are seen are between ages of 20 to 40 years. Now, let's jump into our next section to see which clinical features does cluster headache carry. The cluster headache is characterized by unilateral, extremely severe pain on one side of head, which can be located in orbital, supraorbital, and temporal regions. Patients who suffer from this describe it as excruciating, stabbing, lancinating, explosive, and sharp in character. 90% of the patients are agitated and restless. They can't sit still or lie down. The headache itself is not life-threatening, but because of the severity, suicidal ideation have been observed in some patients. A very characteristic feature is that it comes with autonomic symptoms, which are ipsilateral rhinorrhea, means nasal stuffiness, lacrimation or eye watering, conjunctival congestion, means redness of eye, and also sometimes ipsilateral Horner syndrome. You must be aware of it, but let me tell you briefly about it. Horner syndrome includes ptosis, which means drooping of eyelid, miosis, which means constriction of pupil, and anhidrosis, which means absence of sweating on that particular side. As I told you, in pathophysiology, overactivation of parasympathetic system is responsible for this. Broadly, it is classified into two categories. Number one is episodic, which means the clusters are separated by a pain-free period of at least 3 months and the patient remains well during this remission period. And the second one is chronic, which persists for more than 1 year and the attacks are either without remission or the remission period is less than 3 months. In some cases of chronic cluster headache, the Horner syndrome may persist between the attacks. It has not very obvious triggering factors, just like other forms of headache, but many people report some relationship with alcohol, allergens, means histamine release in response to them, ingestion of specific types of food, seasonal changes. The evidence behind this is that in some patients, it comes back in the same season every year. Tobacco smoking, stress, and the nitroglycerin, which are vasodilators frequently used in angina. Now let's try to learn that how we make its diagnosis and is there any other type of headache that mimics cluster headache.